And we have more breaking news. Opening statements are underway in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors claim Combs ran a criminal enterprise with his trusted inner circle and committed crime after crime for 20 years. Now the defense is responding, accusing the government of trying to turn choices among consenting adults into a racketeering case. The defense also says the now infamous hotel security video of Combs and then girlfriend Cassie Ventura shows a fight over a phone. ABC's Rena Roy is outside the courthouse, and legal analyst Ariva Martin is taking a closer look at that case for us. So, Rena, what sticks out to you so far from these opening statements?
Well, Diane, we have been watching Sean Combs closely as he listens in on these opening statements, and I can tell you that he's sitting at the defense table with his arms crossed. He looks pretty passive. He doesn't appear to have much of an expression on his face as he listens into pretty explicit detail that's being laid out by the prosecution. He did meekly stand at one point as the defense introduced him to the jury, but the prosecution went first, telling the jury Sean Combs to the public was a cultural icon, that he was larger than life, but that there was another side to him, a side that ran a criminal enterprise for 20 years. They went into detail about the drug-fueled sex marathons that they say Combs forced women into, including his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. But the defense is arguing in their opening statement, as you said, that the government is trying to turn relationships and choices involving consenting adults into a racketeering case. And they say that that will not work. They say to the jury he might appear to be a jerk or mean at times, but that's not what this case is about. Diane.
So, Ariva, what do you make of these opening statements so far?
Pretty much what I expected, Diane. I knew the prosecution would come out swinging to try to make their case that this is a racketeering case, that this involves violence, it involves coercion, it involves transporting people across state lines for sexual intercourse and for this kind of conduct that's been described in these freak-offs. And we also knew that the defense would push back. Their claim is that this is all consensual sex involving adults. And they're also suggesting that this video that we're going to see of Cassie Ventura is not a video of violence and coercion in terms of sex trafficking, but rather it's domestic violence. And that domestic violence is not one of the charges that Sean Diddy Combs is facing in this case.
Yeah, we also heard the defense attorney say something to the effect of he's not being prosecuted for being mean or being a jerk, trying to keep the jury focused on, is he guilty of these charges? Not, do you think he's a good guy? And of course, Diddy maintains his innocence here and has throughout. So what do you also make of the defense's strategy in insisting that prosecutors are trying to criminalize what they are saying is Combs' private, personal sex life?
Well, we've seen this before, Diane. This is a common defense that we see in these cases when you have adults, when you have people who are over the age of 18 involved in these cases. But that is going to be a very difficult burden for the defense to meet. It's been reported that at least 4 victims of the sex trafficking are going to testify. And of course, Cassie Ventura is going to be a star witness for the prosecution. One of the things that the defense is also trying to do is to paint these women as strong, confident women that made decisions about being in long-term relationships with Sean Diddy Combs. We know a lot of people don't understand why victims of sex trafficking don't come forward sooner and faster. Why don't they go to the police? Why don't they report this to friends and to others? So that's going to be the question these jurors have to grapple with. If these women were in fact being coerced, why didn't they say something sooner? Why didn't they report it? And they're going to have to understand, at least that's what the prosecution wants them to understand, is the huge psychological and emotional toll that this kind of conduct takes on its victims.
And Rena, they could even start calling witnesses today. How is the prosecution expected to start that part of this trial?
Right, so we know one of the first witnesses will be an escort, and following that, an early witness who is expected to be key for the prosecution's case is singer and ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. She is expected to lay out for jurors her side of her relationship with Combs, and prosecutors say that these are painful details of her life that she's going to be sharing. We're expecting it to likely be pretty emotional as we hear from her.
All right, Rena Roy, Ariva Martin, thank you both.